Hey folks, Jonathan here. In the middle of working on the Traco and trying to get some things finished up and figured out, working on mounting a radiator fan. I tried really hard. I wanted to use a electric fan. There was no way I was going to be able to get an electric fan to fit in there. Lengthwise. Hydraulic cooler there, it's not going to happen. So now we're going to try to get that done, and we're working on exhaust. I've got new glow plugs in, got them in it. Waiting on the fuel shut off. Everything else is pretty good. The alternator I got on here is no good. I've got to pick one up. It's just a mock-up, and I'll get a new one to put on there. Okay, so I want to show you how I'm going to do this exhaust system. We're starting with our flange, which I just laid this poster board on there and rubbed my dirty hands on it here and got us a pattern. We're going to cut that out of steel. We're going to put this flex joint on it, which is off of a Kia car. I cut off, and we want this because the engine's going to have some movement. I'm not saying much movement, it's just vibration mainly, but our pipe is going to come up here and be mounted solid, and I don't want our pipe cracking and breaking, and this will solve that problem. So this will give us enough of a flex and enough of a, it's forgiving, unlike a solid piece of pipe, let's put it that way. It'll have enough movement to save us there. So this will go on. I'm going to come up, and as you can see, I've got to come out, and then I'm going to come around, and then I'm going to bring it back this way. And we're going to use this. This is off of Mazda. This is a resonator pipe, and one reason I'm using this is they last forever. This is not going to rust out being up here. It's not restrictive at all. It's a lot like a glass pack. It's just got holes on the sides of it inside that muffles it, and it'll help quieten it down some. And then when we come out here, we'll just bring it around or something, use a curved piece. And for the exhaust pipe, for our curves and stuff, here's what we're using. This is mandrel bent pipe, and this is out of a propane furnace or like a natural gas furnace. So any chance you get to tear down a LP or natural gas furnace, like the combined unit, that sits outside, it has the AC and the heat. This is what you'll find in them, and they work really well. So that's what we're going to use to make it mandrel bent. We're going to bring it up and around and out, and then, like I said, this will be mounted up here solid, and hopefully that's going to get all of our heat out of the inside of here. And after talking to quite a few people that's had equipment, and reading some posts and stuff about people that had different equipment that had mufflers mounted in places that they probably shouldn't have been, I'm pretty much 99% sure that this is going to solve a lot of the issues with heating for this machine. And we'll know for sure because we're running a temperature gauge, so we'll know the exact temperature. So we're going to get at probably finishing up this radiator first, then we'll get on that exhaust, try to get it finished up. And yeah, we're going to have to put a cutout in the hood because we're going to mount the hood back on it. The hood hasn't been on it in years, but as you can see, it's rusted and got holes in it, but it'll be okay. We'll get it back on there, and so we'll get it on, and then we'll cut out around the exhaust. And the hood's going to raise up, so may have to cut a little extra out, but that's fine. It's not going to be a big issue. The engine that was in it had been getting rained on for years, and it's only going to be one spot there, so we'll be all right. And I think everything else is going to be okay. Hopefully that won't make too much heat for the driver here, operator. It's going to be over here, which is a pretty good little ways away. I think it'll be fine. Worst comes to worst, maybe a heat shield or something, just a shield between it. But I mean, I'd rather be a little bit uncomfortable and my engine not overheating than to be comfortable and engine overheating. All right, back on it. All right, moving right along. Got the radiator mounted, and it looks like the only clearance issue we've got is right here. We've got the alternator barely touching the shroud. Okay folks, back at it, trying to get this flange made, and you can see, just burn a piece out, and then my pattern, I glue this to it with spray glue. And now I can just bore it out and grind it to it and be done with it. Alright, so we're getting started on the exhaust. I have got our flange made. I've got to get some shorter bolts here, but I think this must have had a cast iron flange on it or something really thick. Them bolts were really long. Someone had started them in with their fingers, so I'm just assuming that they're the right ones. But anyway, we got our flex coupling on. We've just got everything tacked. We're not welding anything. I've got the hole blocked off down here because I don't like welding above. If a piece of, you know, a little ball of weld would bounce down in there, it's possible to bounce around. I mean, they're traveling at high speed. It's possible to bounce around and you know, get stuck on top of a valve to where when it closes, it's in the seat. I mean, there's just no reason to take a chance like that. So we got that blocked off. We got this bolted on. And we're just tacking our exhaust together and where we want it. So we're come up to here and we're getting ready to come over to the muffler. And the muffler is going to mount solid on here. And as you can see, this has got flex to it. And it's made for that. So it can flex all at once and not, you know, mess us up here. And it's tall enough that, you know, it will sort of double flex. You know, I don't need two flex joints. One will do it because it will also move this way, not just rock back and forth. So we'll see how that works out. The engine's not going to move much anyway. I mean, it's just more of a vibration deal than it is anything else, and you know, we don't want it to vibrate all the way through. Muffler is going to be mounted solid. I'm going to come up with some brackets with a clamp, and then just run the clamp, the exhaust or muffler clamp down over top of it, and then put the nuts on from the bottom, and we'll do it there and here, and that'll be that. Ooh, I'm liking that already. I don't even have it all welded up. Okay folks, here's the exhaust. Not very pretty welds, but who cares? It really don't matter. I notched out. I wanted to get it as tight in that way as I could because I didn't want to cut a big place in the hood. We're just going to do a little bit to the hood to make it where it'll clear and open. It might be out this way a little ways, but it's okay. Now muffler wise, we're back far enough that the hood won't hit it when it's open. And let me see, we're getting ready to make some mounts. So what I've done is I got some clamps. I'm going to weld a piece from here down on each clamp, and they'll stay in place, and then the muffler will just sit in there. And with it the way it is now, as you can see, it moves anywhere it needs to move. And you know, these flex joints are made for front wheel drive car, so as the engine flexes, you know, on the motor mounts, it allows it to flex there, and that's what keeps it from cracking the pipe up and breaking the pipe. So it'll work for this. So let's get these welded on there. Okay folks, I'm not moving really quick on this thing because I've got so much other stuff going on, but I got my fuel shut off in, working fine, everything's good. Got my return running to the jug, just temporary. I got a line for it, just got to run it around. I found the wire on the ignition to run my solenoid, so I've got to run it. So all that is going to be no problem, taken care of. Injector pump's done, we're taking care of. Throttle is about where we're going to have it. I'll probably adjust a little bit, you know, for idle and for full throttle. I've got the gauges I'm getting ready to run. We've got radiator, everything in. I've still got a clearance a little bit right here, and run the radiator hoses. Not much left, just little things. We're knocking them out, and we're going to service it and everything. I did get the muffler on. I've got to finish welding everything, and then I'm going to do some touch-up painting on the body of it there. And of course I cut out there, I think you'd already seen. So all this is on. I'm going to start it up for you and let you hear what it sounds like. And for anybody that's wondering, this engine here was bought off of Craigslist for $700. So, you know, may not be the deal of the century, but it's not really a bad price. Not for a good running engine. so there you go. The sound's not overwhelming or anything like that. It's actually pretty quiet. I guess I didn't have it up enough for the exhaust, but you see it anyway. No smoke, no fuel smoke, no oil smoke, nothing like that. No noises. A little rattling on the cover here where the you get it to right RPM and it hits the alternator there. But we're going to finish trimming that up. Like I said, we're very close. Just little stuff, and so far, everything's working out good. Hydraulics working good. So just run all these accessories and stuff, and then we're going to carve out for the hood to where the the exhaust will clear it, and I think we'll be good to go. Nana cat, what are you doing up there? Nana, it's nice and hot out. She's just been laying around relaxing here lately, watching me work. Okay, so exhaust is welded up. Didn't have any cat yellow. All I had was John Deere yellow, so it really don't matter. It's not a big issue. But we've got 14 inches maybe between the back of the seat and there. I don't think it's going to cause any problems with heat. I don't see how it could. I don't think anybody would feel the heat, but if they did, we could always put a panel across here on the rocks and maybe just come up maybe 8 or 10 inches, and that would deflect all the heat away for sure. But for now we're going to leave it, try it out and see what it's like. Yeah, like I said, everything is done. The pump's working really good, so that's the main thing. So now it's just easy stuff. It's really nothing complicated at all. Just running wires, running the gauges. We're going to run some pipe out of this intake and come around and figure out how to get piped into our original intake here, or original air cleaner, and we'll clean it, make sure it, see if it needs a filter in it, and like I said, we are going to service it. Fuel filter, oil filter, change the oil, everything before it gets out of here. Everything else is fine. We've got a new belt on it, and we'll keep a hold of the belt. I'll probably write it up on the inside of the cover of the belt, numbers on it, and that way if it ever breaks it'll be easy to get. And of course the alternator's going to be a no problem. This one is no good. I've got to get another alternator. I went to the parts store today and forgot to pick one up, so and I do have to trim this, and I do have to get it bolted on back here. I got one spot that's not, that I don't have the bolt in. Just little things. And like I said, oil pressure fits here, water temperature is right here, so that's not any problem at all. Got to make a gasket for this. I'm debating on whether to run a thermostat or not. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll check this one anyway. And we're getting close. We're very close. So anyway, I was going to make just one last video and that'd be it, but this is taking a lot longer than I'd planned, so I'll probably end up doing a little bit more in this video and then just posting it and not worrying about it. It is what it is, and some things just take longer than others to get done. Okay folks, don't have everything done yet still. Let me see, what have I worked on? Wiring, the relay. Got a relay to operate the solenoid in the pump because I don't know how many amps it pulls. I didn't want to hook it up directly to the key switch because this thing never had a electric shut-off. It only had a cable shut-off before, so now we have electric, and that is done. Oil pressure's hooked up, water temperature gauge is hooked up. Put the gauges right here. Okay, and it still has the original gauges in there. Hard to see. Looks like I can see them on camera better than I can see them in person, but they never worked, or wasn't working, hadn't worked. And you can see how the fuse box is. They got a aluminum foil around the fuses. We're getting everything straightened out. So what I did is I fired it up and drove it forward here. I got the top radiator hose figured out. This was actually the bottom, no, this was actually the top radiator hose that was on this thing. It just faced the other way. Worked perfect. So we've got the other radiator hose to do yet. Still got this air intake to redo to get into here, and we've got to do our little lines, fix our lines for our returns on our injectors. Trying to get it to warm up, get the thermostat to open. Okay folks, that leaves me with return lines on the injectors. I've got two of them that's broke off. Only one of them's going to have to be fixed because one of them needs to be capped at the end, and then everything can be tied together because there's two on each. And the end one, whichever end I want to use, it only needs to have one. So I can just plug it off. And let me see. Waiting on the throttle cable. Waiting on the new alternator. This one's no good. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to fix our little issue right here. We have water in it. It's not overheating. Thermostat's in it. Seems to be running about 180 all the time. Let it run a long time. And that's why these injectors are wet around here, because I just haven't fixed that yet. But I figured it wouldn't hurt to let them flow a little bit anyway. This, rust inside them little returns, and go ahead and let that stuff get washed through and out. And, it's not a big fire hazard when you're messing with the diesel as much as it is a gas engine. Okay, filters are ordered. Oil filter won't be here till Saturday. I don't know why they didn't have one in stock. It's a pretty common filter. And besides that, the gauges are working good. The thing has, Lord, I don't know what it was. It's warmed up right now. We'll start it up and see what kind of oil pressure it's got. And now it's not idling real low, but I mean, it's still at idle. So. We still got 58 pounds at idle. Alright, so what I'm trying to tell you is I'm going fishing. I got parts not here yet. Alternator's not here. The throttle cable's not here. Oil filter, fuel filter's in, but I hadn't picked it up yet. But I think it's time to take a break, and I'm going to go to the river, and I may or may not film it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And but we've got just little things to do, wiring to do, same as it can be. Little things, but they're all time consuming. But getting the hoses hooked up, we've got the other hoses on. I mean, it's coming right along. It's just things take time. So. And somebody had sent me this, and this is just on here temporary because I couldn't find the right one for it. I don't know what I've done with it. It don't make any sense, but I lose everything, so what's the difference? Alright, well, we'll get back at it here, get some parts in and mess with a few other little things, but I think we're going to take a little break on this thing. I hadn't been working on it much. I mean, sometimes I'll get an hour a day, sometimes I won't work on it all day, so I've been towing and doing other things, so it's the way that works. But we'll have her done here soon. So appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.